My dear, dear friends, upon this auspicious occasion, we are together again. I did not choose these dates irresponsibly. No, I caused the medium to pick the dates that were given. For I knew, yes, I knew that upon these occasions we should have visitors from other systems of worlds. The old axiom of occultism goes, as above, so below. Those things that occur in the higher atmosphere of your planet, unseen by mortal eyes, yet hold their lovely, lovely counterparts upon the earth plane. You might say that if you've got it all right here, you've really got it all right there. They are quite connected. You are hosts and hostesses, I shall say, of some of the most lovely, lovely visitors who have been here for this entire segment of time, involving the eclipses that recently occurred, having to do, of course, with your own planetary body. You realize eclipses will tend to affect your planet, and not necessarily so strongly the planet of Saturn. These beings are from your sister planet of Venus, and they've been gracing your presence for some time now. They sit aloft, behold, and they watch from their lovely vantage points. And you, my dear friends, are the recipients of their gaze. Well, can't you see? I invited you here just so that they could look upon you. Unfortunately, most of you can't look upon them, but I'll tell you, the fact that they gaze so lovingly upon you is all that you need. These are your elder brothers and sisters from that lovely, lovely planet, which so very many of you here in this lovely group have, shall I say, evolved upon at different points when it was necessary and useful for the unfoldment of your godhood. So I say, welcome Venusians, welcome masters of Venus, welcome lovely ladies of the flame, welcome our beloved brethren of love. They come here to touch your hearts. They come in some cases to heal you of hearts that have been touched a bit too roughly. It was whilst visiting Venus, I was so graced to be the, well, I shall call it guest, I suppose, for I felt so much more like a daughter of this wonderful, wonderful being known as the Lady Claire. This one introduced me to yet another one named Rubelia. Rubelia, in turn, introduced me to Aquaria. From there, I went to Seraphine, and after that into the grand hall of the Lady Minerva herself. From there, I met Ruby, sapphire, and esmeralda. And in short, my dears, I've never seen so many enlightened women in my life. And I'm not really referring only to women such as one might find, anywhere in the astral world above a certain subplane, simply out of the body. No, I am referring to enlightened goddesses, to those beings that upon the earth plane will always have their counterparts in the male gender. You hear here so many of the grand and holy masters who have worn male bodies predominantly. Nay, here I was looking at women, goddesses, one after the other, after the other, after the other. There was no end to them. Can you imagine the effect on one's consciousness? What occurs is the heart grows and grows and waves and waves. It would be like hearing a symphony of harps, each one played by an angel. For make no mistake, their beauty was accompanied by their song, each one singing the celestial symphony that was her soul set to music itself. I was overwhelmed. I was allowed to witness this thing, feeling, in truth ever so small, but so very loved and welcomed. I shouldn't have thought of going anywhere else, believe me. And suddenly, pop, it was over. Was I disappointed? Not in the least. I'd seen what I'd seen. Suddenly, I was with the Lady Claire again. She took me into a deep and wonderful cave, or what appeared as one, and she said, "Come, I want to show you the cave of investments." Now, my dear friends, unbeknownst to most of you, in my last sojourn on the earth plane, I was happy to occupy the hierarchical sign of Taurus. And ask any Taurus, and they'll tell you the word investments will prick up their ears. They like money. But here I was upon Venus, far from the world's banks, blessedly so. And yet, investments, I looked at her and she nodded gently. She said, "Yes, dear, investments." I thought, what could this be? For a moment my consciousness reeled. I thought, could there be some kind of a divine bank? And if so, I have certainly found my way to paradise. She bid me take my seat. I did so. And suddenly she said, "Ready?" Well, of course I was ready. Pop, it went again. Suddenly, my attention flew back, I shall say eons. And I was aware of myself as I'd been on earth so very long ago. And I saw myself serving a very old man. I couldn't understand it. To be plucked from all of this glory, and suddenly I'm accompanying an old shepherd. What in the world is this about? And I looked at him and I trudged along, and he had this lovely glow on his face, really. And suddenly I said, "Where are we going? Why must I carry this rough bundle?" And he said, in the beautiful Aramaic tongue of the time, which I understood intuitively, he said, "Word has it that our Messiah's been born. I go to see his beautiful face that I might die in peace." And suddenly I knew many, many, many things, including the fact that I'd served him, that he was my grandfather, that indeed we found that lovely vision, and that I had gained immeasurably by serving this old, dusty, crusty man. My attention flew forward in time. I was serving yet another man. Would it ever end? Here was one that was, well, appearing rather mad, I suppose, but in a rather interesting way. And I looked more closely, and by the gods, I recognized the transcendent face of the lovely mystic known as Francis of Assisi. No, we called Francesco in those days. And I saw myself serving him. And I saw that in serving him, I had earned myself, shall I say, what the church had always claimed but never delivered, a lifetime of indulgences. That is to say, dropping off the so-called negative dead time one spends in purgatory. Time after time, I saw myself investing love, attention, service, many, many things. But each one showed me the importance of investment, the importance of knowing where to put one's attention, one's love, one's devotion, and one's service. And my dear friends, it was not lost upon me that on a few occasions I had invested in the wrong people. Out of love, I had invested in certain men who were selfish by nature, who only were into taking what they could. But I loved them, or so I thought. Foolish girl. I served them, and my investment came back to me in the form of bitterness. What then might be the moral? I wondered, and no sooner did I did, it was clear before me. This lovely Lady Clare was showing me how all my positive investments had brought me to this lovely transcendental moment, seated in the emerald cave of the planet of Venus, seeing how I'd gotten there. And she said, now go back to earth, serve the tea of kindness, and share what you see. This, my dears, has been the motive for these teas, to share with you something of investments and where it is that you place your worth and your bounty. Whom are you serving really? Are they worthy? Look deep into your souls, my dears, for I believe I see here confusion, a bit of bewilderment, a sense of insecurity as you begin to note that what you are serving and investing your time and energy in may not reap you the benefits you want at all. Now don't be hasty, my dears. Look deeply. But it's all well and good to say, oh, I don't like this, I'm gone, bad investment. You see? But look deeply. Is it really? I'm referring to those people, causes, institutions that have only selfishness, greed, and self-aggrandizement for their goal. Those that look to help others in whatever fashion or form must thus be worthwhile and thus safe to invest in. You must be practical, my dear friends. Don't go running out the door threatening to end a marriage simply because your husband happens to be apparently a very bad investment. there is no doubt something deeper afoot. Nonetheless, in some cases, that's precisely what you should do. Here, clear the way for them to get out whilst they can. I must leave it upon your lovely heads, my dear, dear friends. And that is precisely where my vision is trained, upon your lovely heads, that I might give you those hopefully useful bit of insights that can help more than four. To you who sit there happily lost amongst the crowd, no one really noticing you, but I see you, my dear. I say this: do that which you are excited about doing. It lies in your near future, and you know of it. Pursue it. But whilst you pursue it, douse it with magic and the unexpected presence of divine beings who will make it far more lovely than you had ever hoped or expected, won't you? You'll do us all a favor. And to you who sit there, wondering, how shall it go? How shall it go? I say this: what is being prepared for you is the best dish you've ever had set before you, and as odd as it might seem as it arrives, I dare say when you dig in, it will be the best meal you've ever had. Worry not. And to you who sit there knowing something of leadership, but all the while feeling not like a leader at all, well then, how can these two exist? I say this: timing, my dear, timing. Watch for the times of leadership. They are not always. But until then, be happy to be led. And to you who finds all of this rather interesting, but certainly nothing you'll invest your life in, I say to you, my dear, look to what you would invest your life in. Consider the words that have been shared and realize that it's in the seeking of the Godhood of all that one's greatest investment can certainly be made. And to you who might feel just a little bit foolish, what in the world am I doing here with my life? I would say that in that you were brought here, and brought you were, you might consider waiting about to see the results of the successful experiment of having brought you here with so little volition on your own part. And to you who is worried so much about that person called Mary, won't you just give it a rest, as they say? Mary has got her own plans, and she's intent on executing them. And you whose grandfather William stands close, he really wants me to tell you that within a fortnight, 2 weeks, you'll have the solution right before you, and you'll be happy as a clam. And as to your Charlie, I'm afraid he's gone, my dear. You just have to let that one go. You can speak of him perhaps later, but he's gone. And to you who have a brother in the spirit but have not thought about him for so very, very long, he reaches out to you this very second. And to you whose dreams have been so vivid, it's only a prelim, my dear, preliminary, for what shall come forth in the way of full color clairvoyance. You'll certainly enjoy that. And for you considering making an investment, I say this: you are being guided but always wait for the hand of timing to be just right, to tap you on the shoulder, and then move forward boldly. Your investments have worked out well thus far. Why should they fail now? And to you who waits and waits and waits and waits, and she waits and waits some more, I've spoken to you, my dear. Perhaps you've got nothing better to do. Just keep on waiting. It can't be that bad, or you wouldn't be doing it. And for you, who've only recently rediscovered your musical love, talent and expertise, could it be a new direction that you move in? Take it slowly, but take it. And for you, who are thinking of being a clothing designer, do pursue your dreams, my dear. Don't you think this world is replete, that means quite full, of tired old clothing? We need some new colors, new ideas. I should like to see wings on some clothing myself. Gossamer would be nice. Lace will do as well. And to 4 of you here who so badly need to clean your homes, it isn't I, but your lovely dead relatives who are hounding you to do it. Won't you give them some rest and do it? And to you who've got that clogged sink, how long shall it last? I believe they sell bottles of the stuff you need in your local pharmacy. It takes all of 20 minutes. And to you, my dear, who's been so slow about cooking, cooking is one of the sweetest forms of love. Cook away, my dear, you just might cook yourself into heaven. And to you, who feel so very lost, as far as money goes, just a treadmill getting you nowhere. You're right. You're going nowhere. So what of it? I should say, look to the right, look to the left, look to the 5 people you know who are making the most money personally, and watch what they do and see what that tells you. Give it 3 months to germinate, then be bold. And to you who is planning a trip but is very uncertain of taking it, why not decide to take it and let the hand of God stop you if it shall? That way at least you're off the hook. And to you who from time to time finds himself with a stomachache, that tummy just isn't feeling good, it's time to change the dietary content. I mean radically. It's time to go to the opposite end of where you are nutritionally, and watch how that just throws you into a different state of balance. And to you who are interested in purification of water, yes, good idea. Pursue it, but what you know now will take you to the next thing, and that in turn will take you to the one you are truly destined to know, use and distribute. And to you who know something of the pedicure and manicure, I should need one myself. Perhaps you'll see me after the show. Seriously, my dear, don't think it trivial. There were times that slaves won their freedom by beautifully manicuring the Cleopatras. Nothing to be ashamed of that. It's an art and a talent. And to several of you who've not investigated your artistic temperaments, this summertide shall give you the opportunity to do it, but I say it shall be in the lovely time of holiday that some call Christmas, that you'll find chances to not buy, but make the sweetest expressions of your love and give these as gifts. I tell you soon the whole world shall be doing it, and bought gifts shall be a bit crass. And to you who can't think, of how you can make it better, whose situation seems so hopeless, who even after our lovely little communion tonight shall go home sadly, hanging her head. To you, my dear, my heart goes out indeed. I shall not forget you, and I shall do what I can to see if we can't change your circumstances, at least betwixt now and the end of the year. Have hope, and to all of you, won't you learn again the sweet art of prayer? Won't you learn how to lift your voices in silence, in the worldly sense, that is to say, not openly that others might hear and deride, but to speak out first your thought, and then if you care to add your voice to it, to your own lovely vision of God, and come close, so close to that parent that so much desires you to approach them. This I can give quite generally, as it applies to all here assembled. My dear friends, we are here as a culture, and this culture shall spread, and nothing shall stop it. It is the culture of Holy Communion. It is the culture of sight and sound beyond the physical. It is the culture of knowing your guardian by name. It is the culture of sweetness of heart and the ability to produce change at will. It is the culture of loving brotherhood and sisterhood. And this culture, I say, is the future as you know it. What you see about you now, 1 century hence, multiplied 1,000 times, shall be the population of your planet. Behold yourselves in relationship to it, and your lovely, lovely roles as its pioneers and progenitors. How much we love you, dears. How much I should love to kiss each one of you upon the cheek, and send you forth like little toddlers, happy to play with eternity as your playground. God bless you all. You have made this Estelle truly feel like her namesake, an eternal star, privileged to share God's light with all of you. Perhaps we shall meet again in this fashion. I should so love it to be so. God bless you all. My experience right now is one of seeing Estelle at the top of a big staircase that would seem to be that way. I could put a direction on it. It's just going right up through the ceiling. And she's standing at the top of it, and she turned around. It's kind of funny. She had this little something like a little hanky or something. She waved it at me like that. And I turned it and I looked at her, and she said, tell them, she goes, that if you can do it, anybody can do it. And I was like, huh? She goes, oh, go on, tell them. All right. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. That was her parting comment. She's quite a character. She says so many interesting things. One time she was leaving a group and she turned and she said, well, she goes, I've said farewell so many times, one more will not hurt me. Farewell. Very British, you know. Oh God, well, geez, I'm so grateful to her for all that she offered us tonight. I was I've explained to you, I think, that when I'm doing this kind of work with a group, I'm like yourselves. I'm just sitting off to the side, hearing it as it comes down. I never know what she's going to say or do before she does it. So it's just like I'm just an audience, and I was amazed to hear a lot of what she said. But more than I was amazed to see some of it, because I was in rapport with her to a degree, and I was seeing that beautiful cave that she mentioned. It was just incredible. So beautiful, and it was like the pictures she was saying were like popping up like all over her. It was like she was sitting there in this what looked like a see-through green stone, very smoothly carved chair, like glass, maybe green glass, you know. But I had a feeling it was emerald, and suddenly it was like fireworks. There was this like big thing, and she was watching that scene that she mentioned about that, what was it, the shepherd or something? And then she watched this other one, and it was Francis of Assisi, and then she showed a few other, they were like popping, and they were showing her how every time she had applied herself in a certain way, in ways that were like what you call good investments, they came back. They came back many times, you know. And you know, there was an interesting thing there, because though she didn't say this, but I distinctly had the feeling that, out of mercy, I'm sure, that the bad investments didn't come back as intensely as the good ones did. And I've always thought they would come back equally or something along those lines, but the feeling I was getting was not that. It was that the so-called bad investments, you just had to taste that once, you know, and realize what a bad investment was, and it was gone. But the good ones kept coming like waves for a long time. You know, so I hope that's true for all of our sake.
Did you happen to see when she explained about the different goddesses and all of them?
Yeah.
Please tell us, please.
Yeah, that was powerful. First, she was with that one lady master, and then it would be like she was being walked through like a garden or something, but there was overhanging, I don't know what they were. There was something on top. And then suddenly, out of the blue, there would be this other lady there, and she would suddenly be, well, like she said, introducing her. And then she would walk with that one for a while, and that one would introduce her to another one. And as you look back, you could see the ones that were still there, they were still looking, and there was like as many back that way as there were that way. And it was just like, it just went on, like she said, it went on and on.
They were singing.
Yeah, well, they were all like, kind of like a hum. I can't even do it. I can't hit that note. They were this very high note that was coming off of them. It's hard to explain it, you know, it's really hard to explain it, but it was around each one of them. It was a different note, and then of course you could listen to each one of their notes individually, or you could hear them all together, and it was like a symphony, like what she said. So it was any way you wanted to go with it. It was really quite something. It was really quite a view. So, well, this brings our 3 nights to an end, to a very happy fulfillment. So, like she said, and I certainly feel the same way, I certainly have no idea when and if this would ever happen again, but if so, she will let me know the way she let me know this time. So I'm really just happy that we could all share with this. You heard what she said about Venus, about the Venusians. That was very powerful. Because recently I have noticed craft in the sky. I might have mentioned that to you. I've seen them hiding in clouds. but you can see them. They're right there, but they're in a cloud. The cloud takes the form of the craft.
Right. There's been a lot of them.
Yes, there've been a lot of them, and I didn't know. I noticed them, but I didn't know
today.
what they were, what was going on. And she mentioned that it's almost like a convention or an envoy have come here from Venus and have chosen to come in that form for whatever reason. She mentioned what is here, but the eclipses. They came to add their energy to the eclipses, and then kind of, I guess, somewhat soften the effect. They're always trying to, comfort us. I know this to be true. So it's just, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate, all of us. So thank you all very much. God bless you all, and I hope to see you all later at some point. I know I will. I'll probably see you over and over again. So thank you all. God bless you. See you again sometime.
Hey, Arthur.